the dice drawn, gaining rounds of muscles drawn. Together in this place where we belong. Doling spells, casting dreams until the dawn, leveling up and the world to follow. With painted heroes shining bright, venturing onward in the endless night. Where the brawn meets the brush, the story's told in the storm imagination mode. With every stroke, the vengeance unfold, beats of our soul. Where the brawn meets the brush, the story's told in the storm imagination mode. With every stroke, the fate to light for face of our souls.
Hello, hello, hello. Let's move this cable out of the way. How are you people? Happy Friday. Yes, we are here once again on the Minis-N-Muscles channel, the place where the brawn meets the brush. Every week we talk geek. Here, you and me, we talk a load of geek stuff. That doesn't matter whether it's Pokemon. That doesn't matter whether it's WWE. It doesn't matter if it's Dungeons and Dragons. Doesn't matter if it... almost forgot what I was talking about. Doesn't matter if it's Warhammer. Doesn't matter if it's anything. We can talk about that right here, right now. On a Friday, every 7 PM. We chat a load of rubbish. We paint miniatures as we go. So fingers crossed you have your miniatures ready with you so you can paint along with me. So let's just move this out of the way. It's just slightly a bit too high at the moment. So how are we? Are we all well? What's been going on? Have you had a good week? That's the question from me to thee. Have you had a good week or not? So do drop it in the comments. Make sure you light up the chat this evening. Say hello. And keep on chatting away. I'm just moving everything out the way here. There we go, because we don't want all that out there. Yeah, so it's Friday. We made it to the end of the week. Huzzah! Another week done here in the UK. Actually, it was quite nice because we had a shorter week, or the majority of us had a shorter week, because it was a national holiday on Monday, so that means it was only a 4-day week. Quids in. So it was very nice here to be able to enjoy a slightly shorter week. But anyway, that's not really what matters. What matters is how you are. So hopefully it's been a good week for you guys. As always, we will continue to paint our mini. The mini we are painting, well, let's bring the box in, is this bad boy, the Space Marine gunship. Look at that beauty. So that's what it should look like. And this is where we are to date. Pachow. So this is where we are right now. So not completely done, but if I bring this in, I'll put the box down for a moment, bring this in a little closer, you should be able to see our little Space Marine sat there with all his little dials and bits and bobs done. And we have also painted the inside, but I don't know whether you guys will be able to see that from the camera. No, probably not. But the inside is painted as well. The difference from this week to last week to this week is the fact that I have sprayed it. So she is sprayed now, so she is looking blue. There's a little few areas to tidy up, but instead of being black, she is now blue and looking very smart indeed. There are lots more parts to put on this, but I just wanted to get a quick blue colour onto the airframe. So there we go, because I'm impatient and I couldn't be bothered to wait. So Optimus-N deciding whether or not to watch the D&D movie with Chris Pine. Heard mixed things about it. Is it worth a watch? Well, sir, I can tell you, Optimus, that the D&D movie is very, very good. I watched it a couple of times and I thought it was fantastic. It's not, if you're going to go in there and think about D&D for the lore and the specifics and want everything to be perfect and it to be this amazing fantasy whirlwind adventure, then it's not quite that. But what it is It's exceptionally entertaining, and it has lots of references that those who play D&D will completely understand. So it's got kind of a lot of nice nods. But if you don't understand D&D, equally, the movie's really good. So I went with some people that really and never played D&D before, and they watched the movie and they were like, oh, this is great, I love it. So I personally think the D&D movie is worth it. Don't get me wrong, it's not a 10 out of 10 banger, but it is well worth a watch. So it is definitely up there with some good movies. So yes, Optimus, watch the D&D movie. That would be my advice to you, sir. Oh yeah, I forgot to say as well, I have also painted the little cockpit cover as well that goes over the front here. There you go, that goes over there. Although I did lose the little bit that goes over the Techmarine's eye, so I had to create my own version out of green stuff. And it's slightly too big, so it sits slightly proud. So I need to trim that back so it actually fits when I put this cover down onto the gunship. But never mind, we can cross that bridge when we get to it. So what else? This week our general chat topic is going to be what was it going to be? It was going to be D&D. That was it. It was going to be D&D. And irony is, Optimus is talking about D&D, but it's going to be D&D and how to create a character and what to try and do when you're creating characters to have fun around it. So that's the general chat topic for this week. Dungeons and Dragons. Kind of half inspired because as those that are regular watchers of the show will know that my homebrew game finished not so long ago. So my homebrew game of D&D finished a little while back, and I've been kind of hankering for another D&D game. And I chucked it out in the group today and said, oh, who wants to play D&D? And a few people are up for it, so that's really good. So that kind of inspired the topic of choice for today, because I started to create a new character and I wanted to sort of just talk to you guys about it themselves. Have you seen they emasculated the new Predator? No, I haven't seen I've not seen the new Predator. Am I missing something here, Optimus? Right, let's have a quick Google. New Predator movie. So what have they done? Have they made Predator really, really small or something? Or yeah, it doesn't look that buff, does he? He used to be like quite scary and dominant. But yeah, he doesn't look as big and buff as what he was. Yeah, not so good. I mean, things like that are meant to be scary, right? They're meant to be intimidating, so why they would change that up, I don't know. But never mind. Predator Badlands trailer. Okay, I'll have to watch that after the show. But yeah, that's our general topic, is a deep dive into basically character creation for D&D. So those of you who've never played D&D before, great show to watch. Also, we have our muscle moment. Of course, we wouldn't be the place where the brawn meets the brush if we didn't talk about the muscle moment. And this week, it's about working around an injury in the gym. So that's just a general advice piece. We have our hobby horror section, so that will be coming up a bit later on as well, and that will be a generalised topic and relating to a story of mine that happened to me, and I've entitled it The Right Time to Buy. So if you're a collector like I am of the geek world stuff, then this will be a good one for you to listen to. So, apart from that, I think we should crack on with a bit of model painting. Have you got your wet palette wet? Is it clean? That is clean, it's just the mat underneath. Have you got some fresh water? Are you set to paint along with us? Let's just dip these brushes. Bloop. Get them ready. So yeah, hopefully you've got your models ready to paint along with us. I just need to mix up some more blue for this gunship just to finish off some of the areas that I haven't quite covered. So let's mix up a bit of Macragge blue, by the way, I'm using for the gunship. And let's change our camera. I'm looking for my mouse. Let's change our camera so we can get our top-down view. There we go. There's our wonderful ship. Let's just do that. There's our wonderful ship. It's looking very nice. There we go. If we zoom in a little bit, can we see how much we can zoom in on? There we go. So you can even see here actually some of the detail on the screen and things like that. So little lines and things like that that I've drawn on the screen just to jazz it up a little bit. But you can see around the edge of the cockpit there is some black, and around the turret area there's some black as well. I just want to cover that off just before we move forward and attach any more pieces. So I'll get my Crag blue and I'll add some to my wet palette. I don't need a huge amount because it's only it's like some of these areas I'm painting anyway aren't vitally important, like underneath this turret for example. But yeah, so let's just add the blue on top here. Just finish off this little section just so we're all done and dusted. So our topic for the general chat is going to be how to make a D&D character, and how to go about making a D&D character. So it might be for those of you that have never played, it might be for some of you that have played lots before and you just want some extra ideas on what to do. So we're going to chat about that. What's my first point I've talked about? Oh yeah, stats aren't everything. Well, what do I mean by stats aren't everything? Well, in the world of D&D, you create a character and they have a statistics block that helps them do certain things. So it could be related to strength, it could be related to intelligence, and the higher the score, the easier it is, in theory, to roll successfully. Because everything in Dungeons and Dragons is based upon rolling dice. And the result of that dice then gives you a score, and that score will be pitted against a difficulty rating. And if that difficulty rating is met or exceeded, then it means you pass the check. So for example, if I wanted to paint this gunship, the Dungeon Master would set a difficulty rating, maybe it would be a 12. And it's a rather dexterous job painting this gunship, so the Dungeon Master would ask me for a dexterity check. So I would roll, based upon my statistics sheet, a dexterity roll. So that's rolling a d20, which is a dice with 20 sides, rolling that dice and then seeing what the outcome is. And then I'd add any modifiers dependent on how good my base score is. And if I pass the test, then it means I did it very well. If I failed the test, it could go absolutely awful. Maybe I break the miniature in the process. And that's generally how it works. And that works for everything. So, you know, these checks are done for absolutely everything in the game, just to see if you pass or fail what you're trying to achieve to do. Again, could be picking a lock to get your buddy out of jail, or it could be jumping over a volcanic ravine or something like that. But that's how it works. Now, because it's very stat related, a lot of players, when they're creating a character, they feel that their stats have to be super high. Now, I'm kind of going against that to say, you know, alright, if you want to min-max your stats, and by min-max your stats I mean choose exactly the right stats for exactly the right thing so it has an optimal effect. You know, yes, you can do that, so it means it will be easier to do checks and all the rest of it. But where's the fun in that? Part of Dungeons and Dragons, right, is about, it's a game of risk, I guess, in the sense that when you roll a dice, you might pass or you might not. So actually, the fun, I think, is in the fact you might fail. And you have to have that element of fail, otherwise everything becomes a little bit boring. So I say to players, don't set your character up to be optimal. Set your character up, I personally think, set your character up to be pretty rubbish. Now, when you're playing a character that has statistics that are pretty rubbish, part of Dungeons and Dragons is not just about rolling dice. We've got some chat coming in. What happens if you roll garbage stats on a new character and you're pretty useless? Well, I'm just getting to that point, Optimus. So, to Optimus's question, it doesn't matter if you roll terribly. First of all, 9 times out of 10 you're in a party that has other members that can try the same task. But the majority of Dungeons and Dragons isn't just about rolling dice and succeeding the task. Dungeons and Dragons is a role-playing game. Now, you don't have to be the next budding actor. You don't have to be the next Denzel Washington, for example. But it's nice if you, when you play Dungeons and Dragons, if you can incorporate a little bit of roleplay. Because I've found in my games, roleplay is where you have the biggest, apart from like maybe someone trying to do something and they fail or they pass and you cheer or you boo because you fail. But actually roleplay provides the biggest laughs of the game and the most fun and memorable moments. 9 times out of 10 you won't remember rolling a d20 unless it was something really specific. But people will remember when Optimus failed at something because his character is so silly. So let's say, Optimus, that your character is a barbarian, right? Barbarians are renowned for strength, but actually Optimus has set his character up so that his barbarian isn't very strong at all. And half the time he will fail when he attacks. It makes it hilarious. It also makes it a huge gamble whether you pass or succeed. So when you do get those successes, everybody at the table is more enthusiastic about it because you have passed. And they'll be like, oh my god, Optimus, your barbarian actually did something. Well done. And it becomes like a joke in a good way. Not in a Mickey take way, but in a good way. So you've got these moments that lead to perhaps a really hilarious moment which you can capitalise on in roleplay, and it brings out A, more storyline, B, a more coherent party, and C, a hell of a lot more fun than just succeeding at everything all the time. Because Dungeons & Dragons isn't just a video game start to finish. It's a cool little story that you get to play with your mates. And having these sort of elements makes it a lot of fun. So even if you roll garbage on your stats and your character's pretty useless, you will find, especially as you level up, you will find you will be able to create additional add-ons that you'll get on bonuses that you'll get to your character as you progress. And that will then enable you to, let's use the example of Optimus's really weak barbarian. Perhaps he starts off like that. He gets self-conscious, he gets a smaller axe because he can't pick up the big one. And then as the story progresses and he levels up, Optimus can then choose to put bonuses into his strength or to give him extra features that will allow him to do more cool things. And it could be part of the story then that this absolutely really weak barbarian that could never do anything before, actually it was just a confidence thing. And as he grows and levels up, in the real D&D world, it's not leveling up, but actually he's found his confidence. And he realises that all along it wasn't that he couldn't do it and he couldn't lift that big axe, but he was trying to live up to family reputation or something like that. And, now he's realised that it's not all about strength and brute strength and doing this and doing that. And he's also realised that he doesn't have to live up to his family's reputation and he's comfortable in where he is. And he just starts to grow as a character. And that makes a wicked story, honest to God. It makes a really good story. So I would encourage you to give it a go if you're playing D&D. If you're playing D&D, give it a try. Try creating a character that isn't very good at what he's supposed to be, or does have statistics that, maybe he's the barbarian and he's strong, right? But he's really stupid. That can add a really good moment, because it means he'll try to do stuff and he'll just fail, and it will be quite comedic, and it brings a bit of light to the game. A really good example of that is in a campaign of Critical Role. Not everyone will like Critical Role, but Critical Role are a sort of live action Dungeons and Dragons game that's played by some very experienced D&D players, and they're actually voiceover artists as well, so they're very good at voices. But in the first season of that, there was a great character called Grog, and Grog is really strong, and he's an absolute brute of a barbarian, but he's also really stupid, and he couldn't read, you know. And there was a really nice sort of part of the character development where, you know, his best buddy Pike, and he was talking to Pike and trying to get her to teach him to read, you know, which was nice. And it just makes for cool moments where you can interact with the characters in a different way, rather than, right, I'm just going to fight this dragon and I'm going to kill it. It gives more breadth and length to the story. So give it a bash. Try to, you know, not focus too much on being stat heavy, and create a downfall in your character. Again, that downfall could be linked to his backstory. And on backstories, that takes me to my second point. Whilst I just take a moment to get some more paint. So my second point I wanted to talk about with character creation was backstory. Now, before you roll all your stats and things like that, and this maybe should have been point one, you should always try to make a little backstory for your character, even if it's you know, a short backstory. Try to start with something, because this again could help your motivation in where you place your statistics. Maybe you've got an incompetent wizard that can't cast spells because his intelligence is really low, but he's from a family of wizards, so that's what they expected him to be, and that's what he is. You know, it could be something like that. But it helps understand, if you create your backstory, it's always good to do that first, so you can know who your character is. You know, what motivates your character? Why have they come to this world? And why, you know, are they trying to fight dragons, make money, find a group to hang out with? What's driving them to be there? By understanding that, it will help make decisions in the game. So, for example, you could be exceptionally poor, right? And you come from a super poor background, and you are here purely to make cash so that you can buy your mum a house. Maybe that's what it is, right? So in the game, that would then motivate your character to take certain choices. Now, it might be that you're in a very rich person's house, and you're left alone for a second, and it gives you the opportunity to have a look around at the wares that's on the shelves, and you spot something shiny and beautiful. You've never seen an item so wonderful, made of, first of all, you think it's glass, but it's not. It's actually jewels, so finely cut, they're as clear as glass, and they look absolutely wonderful, and it's there for the taking. And it might give your character a moral decision then, and you think, okay, so what's my character going to do? And leaning into your backstory, perhaps it would motivate him to take the item. Or perhaps it might mean that it would motivate him to leave the item because he's a good kid, really, you know? So there's lots of good reasons to make sure you have a backstory. One of the other reasons to have a good backstory is to help your dungeon master. Now, when your dungeon master is creating a game for you, there's quite a lot of responsibility on their shoulders, and they have lots of things to do, and within that, creating a game is part of it, and making sure that it has elements that are interesting for all players. Now, one of the things I like to do when I'm being a dungeon master is try to incorporate parts of the player's backstory into the game, so that they can feel like their character really owns a slice of the script. Not that it's scripted, but you know what I mean. So they feel that they own part of that story and they're really there, and their characters are worthy, you know, because the story's actually been based around their character. And they're like, oh my god, my character's actually in this. And people start getting emotionally tied to their characters, and they don't want the character to die or to be hurt or, you know, something bad to happen to them. Although some characters do. Some people want their characters to get slaughtered or to have shortcomings or whatever it is, and they're up for it. Majority of people are the opposite to that, and they want to preserve their character and look after them and see them through. So yeah, having yourself a good backstory enables your DM to then bring your character into the story. So there might be, I was DMing one game before, and one of the players that was playing was not really involving himself as much as the others. It could be for lots of different reasons you have this in a game. But what I did as a DM is I obviously noticed this, and I thought, right, okay, how do I bring this person to the forefront? So I then looked through their backstory, because I asked all my players to give me some backstory, and I just thought, right, okay, I'm just going to bring a character from his past back in here, and he will have to talk, because it's his backstory that I'm incorporating here. He knows this person, or his character knows this person. So I just brought his backstory to life and engaged him that way. And actually, just by giving him that moment of the story, and it is really a moment, even if you do it over multiple sessions, just by giving him that moment, it actually brought him out, and I think it made him realise that he can do what everyone else is doing, you know, and he can enjoy it too. And it was, I think, down to shyness perhaps, but it brought him out. So having a backstory helps in that sense. So backstories, I would say, is one of the most important things to do. And then follow that up with, don't worry about your stats being good. Trust me, if you're playing D&D and you're committed, your stats will get good as time progresses and you level that character up. There's plenty of options every time you level up to make your character better in some way. Sorry if I'm slightly out of camera here. It's rather awkward when you're trying to paint a ship, actually, because it's got bloody great big wings. Yeah, so backstories, super important. Scores and statistics, not so much. So don't worry too much about those stat blocks. Let's get this last little bit done here. There we go. We have got some lights on the front of this, actually, so we might have to paint those now, actually. Get them done. Alright, what we've got here. Let's just fill that bit in. So hopefully so far that's good advice on how to create your D&D character. I've got a bit of a blocked nose today. It's rather frustrating me. Rather annoying it is. My next point was kind of a continuation on the stats aren't everything, and it was just that flaws make your character interesting. So when you build your character's profile out, you know, have the opportunity to give your character flaws. So it might be that they lie all the time, or that they when they see certain shiny items they want to steal it, or they have XYZ, and there's plenty of pre-made options, but you can give yourself character flaws, and I would say definitely go and do that, because again it makes for really good role play later down the road. Might not happen in session 1, but as you get down into the nitty-gritty of playing D&D and your players start to learn your character, and the players around you start to interact with your character, it can bring out some really cool points. So one of my games, a character was an alcoholic, and he was very sort of loud mouth and a bit of a div and things like that. I say div, that's a very English word. He's a bit of an idiot, and he was a bit of a loud mouth, a bit boisterous, a bit sort of pompous, and he used to annoy all the other characters, not the players. He didn't annoy the players, he annoyed the characters by being this sort of pompous fool. And in the game he found a book on how to change his ways. So his flaw was that he was pompous and rude, and he didn't care for other people. But in the game he found a book that enabled him to learn about, you know, how to be a better person. And he spent the time, his character spent the time learning the book, and it did change him. Not perfectly, but it changed him enough so he could see his flaw, and he would rein himself in and apologise, and he would start to have more in-depth conversations with people because he was more interested in them rather than, you know, being a pompous git. Again, adds to the spice of the roleplay. So it's really worth giving yourself a character flaw. So think about that, consider it. There are plenty of character flaws out there to choose from. I'm sure everyone listening to this knows somebody in the real world that has a character flaw that you would want to change. You know, there's no rules in basing your D&D character off a real life person. So you could do that. There we go. So what else have we got to say? I don't know. Is there any questions so far on character creation? If there is, put it in the chat, let me know. We're just currently, just to update on the painting, just doing the cockpit. I'm just adding a little bit of colour around the trim edge of this window. Just making sure this is all done, because then this will be ready. There we go. This will be ready to then go down here like so. But I do need to check that. You can't quite see it if I zoom in actually. Right, can you see that big silver part here? So this big silver bit here, I somehow have misplaced on the sprue the actual part, but I thought, oh, what the hell how can I do this? And I got just a bit of green stuff and I just put a blob in there and started mashing it around and painting it just to recreate what it should be. But it's too big, so this doesn't sit down right. It doesn't clip in properly, so I'm going to have to fix that, but that's fine. In the chat, good evening, Steve. I've just got back from the cinema, from Adrian. Hi, Adrian. So what did you watch at the cinema? What did you see? Crikey, loads of people on. So feel free, guys, those that are here, drop some stuff in the chat. Our general conversation today is about Dungeons and Dragons, creating your first character. But we are continuing with the painting of the Space Marine gunship that we've got out on the floor now. We've got our muscle moment to come, and we've got our hobby horror as well. Yeah, so tell me, Adrian, what movie did you go see whilst I find some silver? Because the next part we're going to start to do is some of the little details, like these little sort of vents here. We'll paint them silver. We'll also paint a bit of silver on the two bolters at the front. We'll get them done so they look smart. In fact, I might even put some gold on this as well, just to tidy this up. And then at some point, for all of these recess areas, we're going to run... Oh, we can't quite see them if I zoom out just a bit. So if I bring this into view here... Right, you can see all these recess areas here. Now, you can see them and you can make them out, but I really like them standing out. So I'm going to run some shade paint through those just so it really pops and stands out. It makes the panels look really bright. So that's what I'm going to do. Oh, I'll take that piece of paper out. That was from when I was spraying earlier. Take that out. There we go. Yeah, so what did you see at the cinema, Adrian? What did you go see? Tell me, tell me. There we go. Get him in there. For the rest of you, have you had a good week? So there's loads of you who are online right now. Not all of you are chatting, that's fine. But what did you do this week? Have you had a good one? Come on, tell me, what was your best part of the week? And because our general chat is about Dungeons and Dragons, I'd love to know from all of you, have you played Dungeons and Dragons before? Drop it in the chat with a yes or a no. Adrian is saying Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Oh, okay. Nice. I guess that is the latest one that's come out. I'm not up on my Star Wars, actually, despite being a geek. I really love the original Star Wars, the original 3. And I kind of got put off a bit by some of the remakes, so I haven't kind of thrown myself into the new ones yet. Just because it just didn't sit right with me, and I didn't like how some of them, they don't really work hard on scenery. It's a lot of CGI. I don't know if I'm going to stick my big head in the way here, but it's a lot of CGI, right? And I'm a massive fan of effort when it goes into set making. And it just feels like sometimes they don't put effort in modern films to make sets, whereas in the original Star Wars, crikey, they put some effort in those sets. They were really difficult to do, so I liked those. But what did you think anyway, Adrian? I'm babbling on. Did you think Star Wars was a good movie? Did you enjoy it? What was it like? Was there any good points? Was there some bad points? So right now we're just doing the bolters on the front. I know maybe I'm a bit old school, but I love my bolters when I'm doing these, whether it's on my Sisters of Battle or Space Marines. I always put red on the sides of them. I don't know, who else does that when you're painting your bolters? Do you put red on the side and just stick red down on the side of the bolter? It's kind of an early 90s thing from bolters from Space Marines and the rest of the sort of crew of Warhammer. Yeah, I used to I still do it. I just think they look cool with red on. I don't know why. So I still to this day paint them red, and if they're not red it kind of glitches out in the matrix for me, so I have to change it. But we are doing the barrels silver, so I'm just applying a little bit of silver across the black here just to denote the barrels. Oh, Ortius or Orestus Siaucoris. What vehicle are you painting? Ah, okay, so I shall zoom out, sir. Oh, there you go. This is a Space Marine gunship. So it is this one. If I grab the box, it's the Storm Raven gunship. If I change my camera, it's the Storm Raven gunship. There you go. That's the one we're painting this evening. We're just doing this on the channel at the moment, so this is what it looks like to date. It's not completely done, but there you go. You can see our little Space Marine in there. He's got his panel in there. You can see just about, if I get it at the right angle. I've painted on the inside, done the underside, but I've just not finished all the details, and there's still some more stuff to stick on, to be fair. But that's what we're painting, sir. Do you collect Warhammer? Do you paint Warhammer? Let me know. And any others as well. Adrian says it's the best of the prequels. Oh, okay. It was released in 2005, so it's the 20th anniversary. Oh, okay. All right, got you. So it's the 25th anniversary version. All right, got you. So that makes sense. I'll just switch this back so we've got our top-down camera going as well, just so you guys can see. Let's zoom in a little bit. It is really difficult, though, to paint this. I've got to admit, to paint this on camera, because of the bloody angles, it's an absolute pain in the backside. But yeah, there we go. Orestus, yeah, you paint as well. I'm painting my first Space Marine army right now. Awesome. So, Orestus, if you look in the description of the YouTube channel for Minis and Muscles, you will find my link tree. In the link tree, it takes you through to various different pages, and one of those is the Discord channel. So I would implore you to go onto the Discord channel and stick in some photos in the minis section. So in our Discord channel for Minis-N-Muscles, we have a chat room, or various different chat rooms, and one of them is for your mini pictures. So you guys can share with me the miniatures you're painting right now. Orestes, I'd love to see your Space Marine army. Nice Tech Marine, thank you. I'm glad you like him, Adrian. Do you want to zoom? Should we zoom in on him a bit? There you go. If I just do that, you can see his little dials and his pictures. Oh, I'm going out of the picture now because I'm doing it back to front. There you go. He looks alright, doesn't he? Doesn't look too bad. Yeah, he looks pretty good. I'm quite chuffed with him, how he's come out. But to be fair, they're not that difficult to paint, Tech Marines, if I'm honest. But yeah, he's pretty good. So what else is everyone else painting right now? Are you painting this evening whilst you watch me? If you are, that's awesome. Tell me what you're painting. Drop it in the comments. I'd love to know. So our general topic of conversation here on Minis-N-Muscles, the place where the brawn meets the brush, is Dungeons and Dragons this evening. So I wanted to just chat about how to create your first ever character, or if you have created characters before, the considerations you can make around making your character. So we've talked about how your stat block isn't important, and it doesn't matter whether your character is the most powerful wizard in the world or the strongest barbarian, but it is important to have flaws and to deliver your backstory, because it helps with the narrative part of D&D. What else do I want to think about when you're creating your character? Oh, Orestes loves D&D. Fantastic. I do as well, mate. It's really, really good fun. So it's one of my favourite things to do. So what else is going on, and what I wanted to talk about is, if I remember, I have to look at my notes very quickly. Oh yeah, party dynamics. So when you're creating your character, and you don't have to always consider the rest of the party, but it is wise to think about and speak to the rest of the players, if it's possible, about what characters they're creating, because this could ultimately change what you make, right? Because you don't want a party necessarily of barbarians, just a party of barbarians. I mean, it could be hilarious for a one-shot, but you know, you want some what's the word? Crikey, diversity amongst your group in what your characters can do. So consider talking to the other players in the group and just talk about what characters you're thinking about bringing to the table. The red isn't very red, or is it your light? No, it is red. Oh, the red on the Tech Marine or the red on the Bolter? So the red on the Bolter is red. It might just be the lighting. It's not great lighting I've got here, unfortunately. Oh, my camera's going all wibble. But yeah, the red is pretty good, Adrian, hopefully. I say now. But hopefully it's good enough. But the red on the Tech Marine is more of a maroon, and that's purposeful. There we go. Yeah, so make sure your party has a bit of dynamics. Think about how your character can fit into the group. So if you know you're playing with your best mate Jimmy and Sue, you know, then speak to Jimmy and Sue and understand their character, and then work out how yours can fit into that group in a certain way. Because it's always worthwhile considering how, you know, you can play your character. Again, it's not just about rolling a dice, kicking down a door and killing an enemy. It's about how your players interact together to bring the story to life. Because ultimately, yes, the DM will create the story, but you guys are embellishing on the story and making it better. So, you know, consider that. Make sure you consider it. It's worthwhile because you guys make the story better when you play. And that's what you want, right? You want an awesome story. You don't want a sucky story. Sorry, guys, keep on going out of camera frame here just because this gunship is pretty big. So, keeps on just popping out of frame sometimes. So, apologies if that does happen. So, what else is everyone painting tonight? Apart from Orestes, who is painting his first ever Space Marine army. To be fair, actually, this is part of my first ever Space Marine army. I only got one Space Marine army, but this is part of that. So I've got a load over there. I've got loads down here. See, look, Orestes, I've not just got one model to paint. I'm like you, look. I've got loads of models to paint. Look, if I bring these over and show you guys, whoop, there we go. Look, all of these guys need painting. So I've got loads that need painting, which is great because it means that I've got lots of different models in my army. But it's also very frustrating because I just want them to be done, and sometimes it takes a little longer. But we all know the pains of painting models and how long it takes. Oh dear. So is everyone's Friday going well? I've asked the question a couple of times. Come on, drop it in the chat. Tell me how you are. There's loads of people online right now. So do tell me how your Friday's going. Do tell me what you're up to this Friday. Yeah, do tell me what you're up to this Friday and what you're planning on doing. Are you having any geekdom? What in the world of geek are you guys doing? So, could it be that you're playing computer games? Could it be that you're off to a Pokemon event? Are you playing some retro games? Are you doing some D&D maybe? By the way, have you ever heard of the Dark Kraken's successor chapter? No, I haven't. I'm not much up on my Space Marine lore, but they sound pretty cool. And is that the successor chapter that you've decided to paint, I assume, Orestes? They sound pretty smart. And I'm going with a purple vibe. Am I right? Is it a purple colour? I did look because I've got the codex. I have looked through the codex and have looked at quite a few of the successor chapters in there. And there was a very cool purple one. I don't know if it was those Krakens that was purple. But there is a purple one in there and they were pretty cool. Oh, it is! Nice. Where's Papa Smurf? Chapter Master of Primarch. Papa Smurf, I haven't even got a Gilliman yet for the Ultramarines. I have got a Marnius Calgar. I do have him available. So I could grab him and show him if you like. In fact, I'll grab him in a moment. But I don't have a Gilliman. So maybe that's the next model to get, right? It's Papa Smurf himself. I shall use your terminology, Adrian. So it's lightly going across here. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't worry if you go over the lines, guys. We're not professionals here. Alright? And we're not looking for perfection. Part of the love of doing a hobby is that it doesn't matter. You're not painting against me. You're not painting against, you know, any other professional. Not that I'm a professional, but you're not painting against a professional. You're just painting for fun. You're painting because it's cool, you're painting because it's interesting, and you're painting because you love the game. And it's a chill out, right? It's a proper chill out painting. So, don't worry if you go over the edges and stuff. Don't worry if you make mistakes. They can all be covered up. It can all be rectified. Don't panic. What we saying in the chat? Dark Krakens are a Primaris chapter of the Salamanders. Ah! Okay, didn't realise that. Oh yeah, I suppose it does work. I was going to paint, to be fair. I was going to do Salamanders, but I'd already got some Ultramarines painted, just characters, Ultramarine characters. So, and when I looked through the codex, Ultramarines were the ones that had the most characters to paint, and I'm a sucker for a character. I love painting characters in Warhammer. Absolutely love it. It just makes it more... I find that painting characters is more fun than painting like squads and squads and squads or something. Actually, painting something like this is quite cool because it's a one-off big piece. But painting characters is cool. Let me grab... Talking of characters, let me grab for you... and I'll just zoom in. There we go. Just so you can see inside the cockpit. I shall grab some of the others that I painted. Oh no, where is he? I don't know where Marnius is. Oh no, that's an embarrassment. I've put him somewhere. Okay, alright, so we're going to have to change tact. I can't show you Marnius because he's in a box somewhere. But let's go through some of the things I painted. So here, talking of first paintings, when I got back into painting Warhammer, this was one of the first models I painted. This Dreadnought. And I painted him in ultramarine colours. And this was one of the first models I painted. This was about 5 years ago? 5 years ago? No. Ooh, no, 4 or 3 years ago. Yeah, so I painted him 4 or 3 years ago when I first got back into painting. And then you've got guys like this that I painted the other day. So here is my Ultramarines. Gosh, what's the name of the healers? I'm thinking of Hospitaller, but that's a Sister of Battle. But this is this. Oh crikey, what's his bloody name? Oh, if you're new to the channel, right, you'll realise that I forget words all the time. Yes, Ironclad Dreadnought, well done. But yeah, this is that guy. What else have I got? I've got things like this guy. There we go. There we are. So we've got him in there. Apothecary. Well done, Adrian. You're my word man. Apothecary. Got that. Oh, here's some of these as well. I've got these really old scouts as well. So I did these. These are some, along with that Dreadnought, were the first models I repainted when I got back into Warhammer. But they're obviously now with, you know, Primaris guys like this guy. So got these up. And lots of other bits and bobs in a box. But yeah, that's my army. I've got plenty of different characters and lots of different bits and bobs, just because it's more fun, right? Right, back to the painting, Steve. Again, I forget my words, guys, and I get very distracted very quickly, so apologies. So we were talking about D&D. Now, we were saying that party dynamics matter, which they do. So, you know, make sure you speak to the rest of the people that you're playing with to see what they are going to bring to the party, literally, in terms of their character. Because that might help you formulate the choices that you make. Because there might be, for example, someone that is a healer. So you don't need any healing capabilities and you can focus your efforts elsewhere. Right? Or it might be that you want XYZ and you don't need that because of this. Or you do need that because you're missing some. So make sure you speak to the rest of the party if you can. If you can't, just go with the flow and go with the rule of cool. Generally speaking, don't worry where I'm going over the edge here. I'll tidy that up. When you're creating a character, if you go for the rule of cool, it's a bit like painting Warhammer. You'll enjoy it more because it's something that you wanted to do. And you're happy with that character that you're making. So, you know, it's not necessarily about power. It's about potential of that character and where it can go. So, you know, go with rule of cool would be my suggestion on D&D characters. All we're doing here is I've got a really light bit of silver just to paint on these grills here. Again, I'm not making them perfect by any stretch of the imagination. All I'm doing is just running my brush over them just so they have some silver on them. Yes, I've painted over the edges. It doesn't matter because we're going to tidy that up. If you can avoid doing it, that's absolutely brilliant. But sometimes you just get carried away, right? And you forget and you go over the edge. Don't worry. That's all cool. Oh, bring that one on. Do a session 0. Yes, you should do a session 0. So a session 0, what Adrian's referring to there when you're playing D&D is you all get together and you talk about the rules of the game and how you want to play it, and that gives you the opportunity to then bring up what you're considering playing, and you can talk about party dynamics and what perhaps the party's lacking or needing or got too much of, blah 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 blah. So you can talk about that in your session 0, which is very, very good. Let's get some blue just to tidy this up, where I made a lot of mess. There we go. Let's tidy those off. So it's quite crazy tonight, actually, on the channel, because one minute we've got like tons of people watching, and in the next minute, loads of people drop off and they come back again. It's really weird. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube tonight, but maybe we're just getting a lot of new people coming in and having a look. So what else do we want to talk about as well with the D&D? Just check the time, actually. It's almost time for our half-time show. What do I want to talk about? Oh yeah, voices and mannerisms. Now, you don't have to, when you play D&D, do voices. You can just use your normal voice, right? But it's quite fun just to experiment and just to see how you enjoy it if you try playing your character with a certain voice. Don't worry what that voice is. It could be a regional accent that you have in your country of birth. So for me, for example, it could be that I want to do a Scouse accent, so someone from Liverpool. So it could be that, or it could be that I want to do a Geordie accent, because that's completely different to my voice. So just choose an accent and roll with it and just give it a try. It just makes, again, the part of role-playing more immersive. So, it helps you sort of make your character stand out from the others. It makes it different. So when you're not being your character and you're being, if I'm being Steve, I can be Steve at this minute, and then I go to talk like this, and I'm now my character, Boris. So it just means that you can change things up and you can have a clear distinction between you the person and you the character, which is quite helpful when you're playing around a table with lots of different people talking. So just consider it. It's not a have to, but it's a consideration to make. Alrighty, so we're halfway through the show. Let's switch back over here. It's called role-playing. Yes, it is called role-playing, Adrian. Well done, sir. Very well done. So let's move that out the way. Halfway through the show here on a Friday night with Minis-N-Muscles, the place where the brawn meets the brush. Now, we wouldn't be the place where the brawn meets the brush unless we spoke a little bit about fitness, right? That's what that's kind of what the channel is about. It's about the geek world collides with the fitness world and how both two can be interoperable. So, what is my muscle moment for today? Well, the muscle moment is a short segment of about 10 to 15 minutes where we just talk about fitness. Now, what did I want to talk about fitness today? I wanted to talk about how injuries don't have to stop your progress and working around an injury in the gym. So ultimately, it doesn't matter that you gain an injury of some sort. Now, you could have a back injury, you could have a leg injury, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The problem that I've found with injuries is the biggest issue, and I can speak from personal experience, is that injuries give you an excuse. So injuries equal excuse, right? Now, by that, what I mean is that we are human and we try to take the easiest path, or the path of least resistance in whatever we're doing. Now, when we get an injury, the first thing that happens is you turn yourself off and you're like, oh, fuck it, and you get all upset and you get angry about stuff and you stop doing what you normally do because you get frustrated. So you lose motivation, you lose, possibly energy and things like that, and enthusiasm to go and continue doing your workouts. Now, that has a detrimental effect because going to the gym is actually good for the body and mind. It releases serotonin and the chemical in the body to make you feel good. It helps improve how your body looks, which then in turn makes you see yourself in a different light. So it's really, really positive that you maintain it. Now, even when you get an injury, you should still turn up to the gym if you can. Now, I get that we all need rest days, and I have those too, but you need to swap what you're doing and think of it in a different light. Now, just think of it as the silver lining, the gods, whoever they may well be, are telling you, right, Steve, I've actually hurt my forearm recently. Steve, your forearm is in pain, so rest that and go and train something else. You need to train something else. You've overtrained your forearm. Great. So I'm now going to go in and do legs more or abs work or whatever it is. And it gives you a moment to step away from your normal regime and try something different. So avoid that sort of nothing or all trap. A lot of people are like, right, well, if I can't do it all, then I'm never going to do it. Don't fall into it because it takes you out of your discipline and your regime that you've currently got yourself into. And that's a hard place to get to. So try not to do that. Try to stick to go to the gym, even if it's for light, sitting on the bike or doing some sit-ups. So you're going to train what you can. As we said, you're going to swap from the forearm to the legs or do the abs or whatever it is. Use a time to build your knowledge. Perhaps it's a moment where you can take a week off of training that particular body muscle group, and you can now educate yourself on how to train other areas. So it might be that you read a book about 60-minute abs or whatever it is, and you can now go and do those 60-minute ab sessions and work out and get yourself through in that way. So always consider swapping over and giving it a chance in something else. Check your ego at the door. That's what I wanted to say. Oh God, I'm pulling out cables as I go. Check your ego at the door. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean, just because you're not lifting heavy because you're injured, and it doesn't mean that you have to lift heavy still. You can go light. It doesn't matter what everyone else in that gym is thinking when they look at you. I could be in the gym and I've got, 2.5 kilogram dumbbells and I'm doing dumbbell curls. It doesn't matter what everybody else thinks about me. So what? But that's what I mean by check your ego at the door. Forget everyone else. When you go to the gym, it's not a fashion show. You're not there for everyone else's benefit. You're there for you. You are the most important person in that room. So work for your body. If you've got an injury, let's use my forearm. If I've got a forearm injury and I can't hold and grip heavy weights, I'm just going to go lighter. And instead of doing 8 repetitions, I'm going to do 20 repetitions or maybe more. So check your ego at the door. Stay mentally in the game. This is kind of linked to not skipping and sticking to that regime. Getting into a mindset of continued physical work is actually quite hard. It's the discipline side of it, and it's quite hard to maintain and keep and to get going in the first place. If you stop doing that because of your injury, it could all go to pot. Don't let that happen, all right? Try as best you can to push yourself forward and continue to go to the gym, even if it's for a light workout or something slightly different. And lastly, consult professionals, because I'm not a professional. You're not a professional, possibly not. go and see someone that knows what they're talking about when it comes to injuries and what you can and can't do around that, okay? So don't just take my advice, but go out and explore other avenues as well from other professionals, all right? Anyway, that was our muscle moment. Let's flex the guns. Let's get back to the painting. Here we go. So let's bring our little gunship back in. Let's have a zoom out a sec. So all I've done is I've literally just put on some of the silver onto those trims there, just to give it a little something. Doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to follow every single line. There might be little bits missing. Doesn't matter. But just get a little bit of silver onto those grills, just for them to stand out. Oh, we do have some grills on this side though, here on the underside. So let's see if we can get some silver on there. Here we go. So we're back to our other chat that we were talking about, and that's Dungeons and Dragons. Optimus was saying at the start of the stream that he was thinking about going to watch the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Well, you should. It's very good. So if anyone else wants to go see the Dungeons and Dragons movie, I'd highly recommend it. It's a very good film. It's not the best film in the world, but it's not a bad film at all. I don't think anyone would be sourly disappointed or walking out of the theatre or, you know, throwing the remote at the TV from watching it. I think it's, you know, pretty good. It's an enjoyable watch for most people. There we go. Oh, just gone over the edge there, so let's get some blue in there as well. Yeah! So, Friday, people, what are you all doing? Okay, come on. What are you doing this Friday? And Saturday? And well, actually, we are on Friday. So what are you doing this weekend? As in tomorrow? What are you guys doing? Drop it in the chat. Tell me. I want to know what geeky things you guys are doing this weekend. Come on, hit me up. Tell me what you are all doing this weekend. Have you got geeky plans? Are you going around your besties to play some board games? Are you hooking up with your buds to play your retro gaming system online with your friends? What are you doing? Drop it in the chat. Tell me. Adrian is saying perhaps use a grey or a metal colour for the grills. Yes, so those grills do have a metal colour across them. Doesn't come out very well on the channel, but yeah, on the video, because my light's not that great. But these are, if those are the grills you're talking about, then yeah, they have silver on them. You've also got silver just on that grill there, so you can see just on this one. You've got silver there. You do have silver on the inside. I don't know if you can quite work it out, see it, but no, you can't quite see. But oh, there you go. You can literally see just a little bit of silver on the inside as well, where the inside's painted too. Just because I got excited. Orestes is saying band practice. Oh, cool. What instrument do you play, Orestes? Tell me. Drop it in the chat. What is everyone else up to? Is everyone else going to have a good weekend? Oh, that's what I was going to do next. I was going to do this, wasn't I? So let's move that out the way for a moment. Just place him there and bring this on. We can zoom in a little bit. Whoop. That's enough. And we need to get some gold. Drums. Nice, man. I started playing guitar when I was very, very young. Got pretty good at it. And then I stopped playing because, as we all do when we're kids, get very lazy. And I stopped playing. One of the biggest regrets in my life. Stopped playing guitar. I can still play now, a few chords and a few bits and bobs, but nothing very good at all. So yeah, but I still love listening to lots of different music, especially ones that evolve around guitars. Adrian's saying kettles. What, you play the kettle? There we go. So we're getting some gold onto the bird now, onto the front insignia that's going to go across our gunship. Why don't you start playing your guitar again? Well, it's literally, well, one of my guitars is sat not too far away from me where I'm sitting right now. Yeah, I could do. It's to be honest, mate, it's time. There's so many hobbies that I enjoy doing. It's just time to then give to playing and learning properly the guitar, because I would have to put some serious hours in. I think to get good, that is, because you know I'm not nowhere near what I would want to be or need to be. Because if I'm pretty much like you, I'd like to play in a band. That would be pretty cool. That would be a good laugh. There we go. Get some gold on these wings. What we saying? Kettle drums. Oh, okay. Got you. I was just taking the mickey, Adrian, don't worry. Just me joking around, you know how it is. Just getting some gold on there. There we go. The old bird looks nice. There we go. Just want to run some gold just along the top edge as well of that. Just so you get that 3D look. There we are. There we go. Oh, just went over a little bit as well. Dang it. I'm going to have to fix that up. It's a frustration, but never mind. Yeah, so I'll always make mistakes, but I'm not too fussed. There we go. Run along that side. I should really put on my geek glasses and really get a zoomed in look at what I'm doing, but I'm trying to stay cool tonight. Don't look too geeky. There we go. So we haven't had our friend Mower Man jump on tonight and just wave and then disappear. And he still hasn't told me, if Mower Man you are on, you need to tell me what mower you own. I want to know. There we are. Just cover that up. There we go. Nice. There we are. Just tidying up the edge. So what else I want to talk about with D&D and making our little D&D character. So one of the points I wanted to bring up is how do you even create a character? Especially more so for those of you that are new to creating D&D, or playing D&D rather, because you don't create D&D. So when you're playing, how do you create a character? Well, you can get the books and you can read through the books and do it good old pen and paper fashion. So that's how I first learnt how to play. But there are plenty of other ways to do it, such as these fandangled things we have that are called mobile phones and tablets, right? Where we have the option to be able to log into one of those and use a wonderful app. And there is one wonderful app that I like. I don't like it because it's owned by Wizards of the Coast, and they don't seem to be genuinely for the fans. But I do like the app D&D Beyond because it's very, very easy. So it's an application that you can get for your iPhone or your Android called D&D Beyond. And it allows you to create characters to play Dungeons and Dragons. It's really easy to follow the steps. It helps you out massively because you don't need to know the rules. Just if you were creating the character on a piece of paper, you need to know the rules and read through. actually D&D Beyond takes you through the steps and loads up the rules for you automatically. If you want more than the basic rules, you are going to have to pay, unfortunately, as is the world where we have to pay for everything nowadays. You can't get away with not paying. That's just part and parcel. But if you're going to play D&D on a regular basis, it's very much worth it. Even if you just took the basic membership, just so it gives you, the ability to be able to create a few characters and have a good laugh and make it easier for yourself. Like, ultimately, why not make it easier for you? And D&D Beyond does do that. There are other applications out there as well, and there's some free ones, and there's obviously pen and paper. But it's quite handy. And what I like about D&D Beyond, earlier on we were talking about creating backstories, right? Well, what I quite often do is when I've got my D&D Beyond on the go, I might sit somewhere and I might just write a little backstory about something because an idea has popped into my head. It's really good for that. Just adding stuff in. So I would recommend that you get yourself a D&D Beyond. Failing that, good old pen and paper. Nothing wrong with good old pen and paper. So don't think you're doing yourself a disservice by going pen and paper. It's just that in this modern age, most people don't like. I know so many players that don't even like using pen and paper. And they refuse to use pen and paper. Adrian in chat is saying, get up and go for a long walk. Oh, okay, nice. So where are you going to go for your long walk, sir? Be interested to know. Whilst I grab some colours, what I'm looking for. Oh, see, now we've had 60 views this evening, which is, for my stream, is pretty good. So now we're down to 3 viewers. It's really weird this evening how it's sort of 1 minute there's loads and the next minute there's not many. So I don't know what's going on here, but there's something going on in the Matrix, which is good that we've got extra views, so that's what we need. Pen and paper is great, Orestes. Yeah, it is. There's nothing wrong with pen and paper at all. If you've got the books and you're able to read through the books, pen and paper is brilliant. And it's actually quite a nice way to learn how to do things in the first place. So, don't feel that you have to rely on the digital version. And if at any point your digital version breaks for whatever reason, if you know how to use the pen and paper version, then hey, you're on to a winner. So, it's good to learn, even if you don't use it all the time. There we go. A little bit of red, just out of shot, a little bit of red, a little bit of green, just as a little bit of colour on the top there. Nothing too crazy. And we can get rid of that now. You can see my really dodgy green stuff screen that I created. God, it looks awful. I'm not very good with moulding green stuff, to be fair. Right, let's move that to there. Let's bring back the gunship. Boom! Bop, bop, bop. Oh, that way. Want to go that way. Okay, cool. So here's our gunship. Righty. So we should probably look at, because I don't want to paint the whole thing and all the details just yet. We should probably look at putting a little bit more of this together. Because so far, we're only about halfway through the book here. We've got quite a bit to do. If I zoom out, there we go. We've got quite a bit to do here. What's saying in chat? Orestes is saying, took me 4 hours to create my first D&D character with just a player's handbook. Yeah. It does take a while when you're first doing it, but just take your time, man, and enjoy the understanding of the book and the rules and how things work. Adrian is saying his walk is from Aldershot to Farnham through the through the training area in Farnham Park, contours for calves. Okay, got you. Nice. Well, that'll be a nice walk, Adrian. Enjoy that, sir. Yeah, you'll have to let us know how you get on. So we got to this step. I should probably put it that way. So we did get to this step, and instead of having the legs, I chose to have it with the legs up. So this version, because I was thinking I could use those legs for something else in a conversion, but also I thought, well, my gunship is going to be flying and it's going to go on the stand, so I didn't want it to have legs down. I wanted the legs to be up. So we've done that bit. We've attached those there. We've done this bit. So let's get past that. Let's get onto here. Okay, so I think this is the page. Hang about. Yes. So we're on this page here. This is the page we're on. So we're starting to put on the guns onto the doors and things like that. That is next up. So let's find the bits that we need on our sprue. Let's move the gunship out the way. So we're just going to pause the painting for a moment, peeps, just so we can continue with creating the gunship itself. So what we've got over here, we've got our sprues, and we now need to start looking at what we've got to place in here. So we need to build these out. That's what we need to do. So let's just move that slightly. There we go. And let's just zoom in a little bit. So this is what we're going to try and to build. So this is the gun's pod that goes on the side, and it moves back and forth. So, and they go in these little holes here on the side doors. That's what we want. So it's 70, 77 and 75, which is right here. So I need my clippers. So I've got these really cheap clippers that I've got. I think they might have come with a paint set that I bought. I actually bought when I started to paint up again. Now, yeah, it's probably quite a few years ago. They're bent and out of shape, and they're not the best, but they're okay. They'll do. So I'm just going to cut this out. There we go. We got that. We need 78 and 71 as well. So 78, which is this part up here. 78 and 71. Where's 71? Oh, it's over this side of the sprue. So this big old beastie bit up here. There we go. Cut that out. Right, okay, so we've got those bits. Now we need to shave off the edges and then just make sure that we can glue it together. Alright, so here we go. And yes, Adrian, before you say it, I know I should cut away from the body. Yes, I'm fully aware. But I just find when I'm doing this and doing really small precision movements, actually cutting towards me is easier. That's just me. I'm not saying that's how you should do it. I'm just saying that's how I do it. So that's how it is, alright? Don't kill me. So the rest of our D&D chat this evening about creating characters and making our first sort of characters interesting, or maybe we're making a character for the 100th time and we want to just make something different. So I wanted to talk about sort of class and race kind of tropes and stereotypes. You know, like people always put, when they're creating D&D characters, they put, I don't know, a Goliath with the barbarian because Goliaths are massive and they have strength bonuses. But, you know, what about moving away from things like that? Moving away from the wizard human or something like that and moving into something that's really odd. Now, you notice a kind of theme here when I'm talking about lots of different D&D stuff, and that is sort of breaking away from the norm. And I just find it far more interesting. So I always try to pick the characters that are like the least likely to succeed. So what if you're thinking of a barbarian or something? What about making a halfling barbarian, one of the smallest races in D&D, and you know, wouldn't be renowned for being super strong, but what about making a tiny little person that's absolutely rock hard? That would be quite interesting. What glues do I use? Orestes is saying, so I've got a couple. Bear with me and I will show you. So I've got two different glues. I've got good old Citadel plastic glue, and I've got this Humbrol Precision Poly Cement as well, which is plastic glue. They're both really good. I don't think I have a preference of one over the other. I think maybe the Humbrol's slightly better, but they both work very well. Now, what I would say is when you're gluing is never, 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 try not to use super glue. Okay, super glue, yes, it sticks very, very quickly, but the reason why plastic glue is so good is because it actually melts the plastic and it melts it together. Now, when you use super glue, it just bonds the super glue itself, bonds by the super glue. Now, so when you drop a model, if it's super glued, 9 times out of 10 it will break and the part will pop off. If you've used plastic glue, quite often you'll be lucky and it won't break at all. And you can just use your model and pick it back up and crack on. So, because the plastic cement holds better than super glue does. If you're working with resin, or if you're working with metal figures, because some are metal, or the old Warhammer are metal figures, then you might not have that luxury. You might need to use super glue, for example. But in this case, we're working plastic model here, so you don't need to at all. Just make sure when you're opening your glue that you just take off the glue that's around the end, so there'll be some glue around this tip. Oh, low battery. No. Let's just fix that. Boo, get in there. Go. Oh no, it cut out. Does it every time. And I charged it before. Never understand this camera. Let's see if it turn back on. Here we go. There we go. Right. Okay. So, as I was saying, yeah, just remove the end of the glue because the glue will dry around the end. What you can, if you're very careful, is you can use a lighter or a flame of some sort just to burn the end, and you'll find the glue comes out very, very easy. And all I do is whack a load of glue in the areas you need. You don't need a huge amount, to be honest. What you could do at this point, right, with this part, is you could actually paint. So if I zoom in here, right, these are actually bolters. You could obviously paint the inside. I'm not going to. I'm going to leave them. I'm not going to paint the inside. Yeah, so Adrian's saying super glue for resin and pewter. Yeah, I also use green stuff as glue. Yeah, you can use green stuff as glue, or green stuff as a bonding material. You can certainly do that. Right, let's stick those in there. Oh, actually, it's the other way around. Make sure you do it the right way. And then this goes on here. Which way round does it go? That way? Like that, I think. Yes. Okay, oh, sorry, I'm out of camera. Let's get some better light here. There we go. Okay, so this part just goes on there like that. Where does that stick then? Because that's a bit... that's a bit precarious. So I'm going to actually have to run some... Excuse me. I'm going to have to run some glue on the top edge here. Because what this doesn't seem to want to do... Oh, come on. Now the glue's bloody stuck. Can't have dried that quick. There you go. Pick that off. There we go. It doesn't seem to have a proper edge. Quite often with these Games Workshop models, they have a proper edge where you can affix the next part. But this one doesn't seem to have that. So, kind of hoping that that is enough. like that. And I'm hoping that holds it. Might just run some glue along the edge here as well. On the inside, because no one's going to see that. And the last thing I want to do is for that to pop off. I don't want that at all. Right, there you go. So that's one side done. So that's one side cannon done. Let's look to see if we can cut out the other one quick. So we now know what parts we want, so I can just do that quickly off camera. Because bringing a huge sprue into camera's a pain in the bum. Ah, now I'm dropping pieces. Yep. There's one piece, that's what we want. We also want this piece. There, and we also want these two pieces. 1, 2. Right, sometimes I really enjoy doing the models, and as in sort of cutting them off the sprue and building them and putting them all together. But other times I get kind of not run down by it, but frustrated by it, to say the least. So it's the same process again. What we've got to do here is we've got to sort of fine do all the edges. Let's just stick that on there and zoom out slightly. There we go. Yeah, there we go. 1, 2. So we've got one more segment left of the show this evening, because it's 8:30, so we'll stop in a second for that last segment. And that's our hobby horrors. So we'll stop for hobby horrors in a moment, just after I cut all the bits off of this. And then we'll start that part of the show. I'll tell you what, we've had loads of views tonight. That's pretty good. I'm super happy with that. Oh, JPC is in the house. JPC. How you doing, sir? You all right? I hope you're good. Hope you're keeping well on a Friday. I'm just checking the time. Oh, it's still a few hours to go for you. Are you at work still? Or are you finished for the day? Have you got an early one? So we're just cutting the edges off of this one, off of this turret. Just smoothing it off. So when we do apply the paint onto the top here, it's not going to be, you know, covered with bumps and bruises and all the rest of it. There we go. Oh, cut a little bit too much off there, never mind. And a bit too much off there, but oh, it'll do, it'll do. It's not a worry. Come on, you bugger. Oh, JPC is still at work. Oh, unlucky, dude. But thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it big time. There we go. Last couple of bit of extra bits on the edge. So make sure, if you haven't, and it's your first time watching Minis-N-Muscles, make sure you use the link at the top of the bio of the Minis-N-Muscles YouTube page. You will find access there to our Discord. Jump on the Discord, say hello, and let's have a good old chinwag in the Discord. There you can jump in channels such as the Minis channel and share the miniatures that you've made. So I can take a look at those and see how cool they are. I'm always interested in looking at what other people are painting and making, just because it's an awesome hobby. So for those of you that just joined and you fancy sharing what you've done, please do. It'd be lovely to see what you guys and girls have made. And I have no doubt that you can paint and create just as well, if not better. I'd be pretty surprised if you can't paint better than me and make things better than me, because I am no pro. I just do it because I love it. Oh, that's the other way around. There we go. Stick that in there. Yeah, it does move just about. Okay. Right, that's that one and that's that one. So there's our two little turret guns to go on the side doors. Great. So we can bring back our gunship. Here she is in all her beauty. And we can now stick these into place. So I just want to, first of all, before you stick anything into place, always just double check how it fits and what you're going to be needing to glue, because sometimes it varies. So on this one, actually, I'm going to glue just the rim on the actual gunship itself, just because that is the easiest part to do, gluing wise. There we are, and I'm just going to pop that one on there. Oh, might have to hold it for more than a second. There we go. Has that gone in? Yeah, I think so. Okay, might just need to use a little bit more glue on the next one, just in case. There we go. Glue, glue, glue. There we are. Throw it all in there. Get the panel and put it into place. There we are. Okay, so I'm just going to hold that for a second, just whilst that dries. But they look okay though. They look alright. They look pretty cool, to be fair. What's next? So next up is the turret up top. So we're going to build that next. That'd be quite cool. That'd be nice to build and stick on there. That would look good. So there we go. So the turret, the guns are on. They look pretty sweet. Place that down there. And now grab the next pieces of the puzzle. Alrighty. So what we got? Well, actually, we're going to need a fair few of these little bits. So we're going to need this part, 1, 2, 3. It looks like those parts plus a few others. So let's snip these out. Again, don't worry about being too careful when you snip. Oh, well, sorry. Do be careful when you're snipping them out. You don't want to snip the model, but you don't have to be too precise on the cuts when you're cutting away from the sprue, purely because you can cut those down and edit those afterwards. So don't panic if you're left with a big part of the sprue on the model piece, because we can always shave those down afterwards. There we go. 1, 2, 3. What else? Oh, there's some glass somewhere, which is over here. So let's bring that in. And we also need... Oh, there's a long bar thing. Where's that? 91. Ooh, crikey. Oh, we're also going to need this little servo guy as well. So we're going to need his parts. So let's just cut him out. Tell you what, I've never done this like this before on the channel. Cutting all the parts out. It's actually quite difficult. See, often that's a massive bit. Sometimes when you get a very small join, you can just spin the part and it comes off quite quickly and easily. So if you can, do that. If you can't, don't worry too much. Right, now we've got these two little fiddly bits. So these are like the edges that go down the edge of the glass, just to frame the cockpit better. So we'll take those off, stick them down there. What else are we looking for? We are looking for... Oh, Gav Pell, I need the snip. Yeah, you do, mate. How you doing, Pell? You alright? You keeping okay, bro? To be fair, I'm surprised your comment was so polite and nice. Am I actually talking to Pell? Right, there we go. There's all the parts, I believe. Adrian's saying, when looking to make the turret, refer to the instructions so that you don't miss parts. Yeah, I am, dude. They're right here. They're right next to me. Right next to me. Don't panic. So I just can't fit everything in camera. But if well, I suppose I could. Oh no, I can't. I can't zoom out far enough. But you can see just on the left-hand side over here that there is instructions right next to me. So I am referring to things, Adrian. Don't panic. I'm not just cowboying it, you know. I mean, that would be the usual way to do it, but... So, how are things anyway, Pal? You alright? What about everyone else on channel? So we've had loads of viewers tonight. Which has been good. That's what we want. Just going to shave off the edges of these little bits again. This is the bit, I think, this is the bit that I hate the most. I hate cutting these sodding little bits off. It does annoy me, but then if I don't, and you leave them on the model, it looks horrific. So, you know, do take the time to trim these little bits off, but they are a pain in the bum, so if you hate doing it, I completely feel for you. I don't like doing it either, so yeah, it's worth trying something else. I just wish they would just give me the parts already pre-cut off the sprue. Maybe that's half the fun though, I don't know. I don't really like when I'm model building, I don't really like the cutting off the sprue bit. That's not... I don't mind the building, that's absolutely fine. But the cutting off the sprue thing and finding the part numbers and all that, that's not really my cup of tea, to be honest. But, you know, every man to himself. What about you guys? Do you like cutting off the sprue? Is that what makes it fun for you guys? Pell was saying he's alright, he's just waiting for game time. Have you bought any more WWE belts, Pell? Oh, talking to WWE belts, actually. So, I wanted to do my hobby horror. So, every week we talk about a moment during our hobbying times, whether that is painting miniatures, whether that is collecting Pokemon, or whatever it is you do as a hobby. It's a moment where you go, oh, crap. So, let's just pause this for a moment and talk about it. So, hobby horror is the moment where you say, oh, damn it, I've just done something completely stupid and I didn't realise why, but it's all gone wrong in my hobbying geek world. Now, here's the thing that I wanted to talk about this week, and that was the right time to buy. So all of us in here are geeks, right? To some degree. Doesn't matter what it is, but it could be like Pell. Pell loves a WWE belt, right? He might be, or he is, a geek for WWE belts. He won't admit it, but he is. You know, I love Warhammer models, D&D, WWE belts, whatever. I'm a massive geek hoarder collector. I love collecting things. You know, it's really, really good fun to collect stuff. Now, when you're collecting stuff, the idea is to find things and get them at the right price, right? So here's my hobby horror for the week. Now, my hobby horror was, and I wanted to ask you guys, have you guys ever missed out on anything that you wanted because you hesitated? Have you ever missed out on anything that you wanted because you hesitated? I am sure that a lot of you did at some point miss out on something because you hesitated, right? You hesitated to buy. You were like, oh, should I? Now, I had this happen to me. I've had it happen to me loads in life. But it happened the other day where me and Pell were talking about WWE belts and buying some of these belts because they're valuable, blah, blah, blah. And he said, oh, this one's just come on for sale and it's, you know, 200 quid. And I was like, okay, I'll have a look at it. And I didn't realise, that the price was incorrect and it should have been priced differently. It should have been priced way more and it was a right bargain. And I could have just sold it on to make some money, but I didn't. Pell bought one, and I was about to, and then and they sold out. And I was like, no, they've sold out. Can't believe it. I could have made a few £100 on just buying one item. And that's what part of collecting is, right? It's like making money from buying things that you love and enjoy. So, you know, I missed out on buying a belt because I hesitated in the moment. Now, I'm not telling you as collectors, geeks, hobbyists, all the rest of it, to just buy. That's not a good thing to do because you can end up in financial trouble, right? But when situations present themselves to you, you should always grab them by the balls and go for it. Because if you don't, you will miss out. You should strike while the iron's hot and just go for it. Now, there is a point of fear of missing out versus budgeting. So you don't want to overspend if you cannot afford it. So always make sure that you have the funds available to be able to buy the next Warhammer model or buy a retro game that's come up for sale. But as Pell's just dropped in the chat there, got to pounce. You do have to pounce on stuff. And you have to take that opportunity to go for it. So, you know, look for things like limited runs of stuff. Look for things that are individually numbered, signed. Look for things, exclusive drops. Look for things that are rare items or rare versions. You know, like, let's go for the retro gaming world, right? The original Nintendo that I have, there's a Zelda game that's a gold cartridge. That's super rare. If I ever see one of those available in good condition with the box and all the rest of it, I'd snap it up because it's super rare. As long as it's the right price. Don't go buying things just because they're there. It comes back to that fear of missing out versus budgeting. If it's £2,000 but you know everything else is selling for £1,000, don't spend £2,000 just because it's there. Be sensible. So don't pounce on it if it's not at the right price. Budget versus fear of missing out. Just weigh it up. But that was my moment this week where I missed out on something. I could have got something, made a few quid, but I didn't. So yeah, so missed out big time, but never mind. It's okay. Another opportunity will come up. And that this week is my hobby horror moment. Has anyone else online had a hobby horror moment this week where they've missed out on something? Or it might not be this week, it could be, you know, this year, where they've missed out on something and they haven't been able to get it. Has there been anything for you guys? If it has, drop it in the chat, let me know. Whilst I go back to taking the edges of the sprue off of this model part, which I hate doing. Can someone just come and do this for me? I'd much appreciate it. It's rather frustrating. Dislike this part the most. But yeah, if you've had a moment where you've hesitated to buy something and you didn't, but you missed out, what was it? Tell me what it was. Drop it in the chat. I'd love to hear about it. There you go, just scratching off that bit. You can, when you're using a blade, you can either use the actual blade edge itself and just run it along, or you can cut the piece off. It's up to you, as long as you've got a steady hand and you're not crazy. And you're using a blade that's suitable as well, so whenever you're using a blade, be careful. Use something suitable that you know you can control. It's no good in bringing a machete to a model fight. That's no good. I've done that bit. I've got this bit to do. There you go. Cut that off. Yeah, so we're coming up to the end of the show now, guys. So it's the last 10 minutes or so. Any other thoughts on anything we spoke about on today's show? So it could be from creating D&D characters, which was our main topic of conversation today, to the model that I'm painting, to anything else. Could be a hobby horror that you want to share with us and tell us about something that happened to you and you didn't want it to happen, but it did because you had, I don't know, fear of missing out. It could be a muscle moment where you've currently got an injury and you're trying to get past that injury, but it's a little bit difficult. So do tell me. Right, we've got all our pieces here. Let's just do this. Let's just tidy up a little bit of this scrap that's on the side. Oh God, I've just moved the piece somewhere. I don't know where I've moved it. Oh no. See, look. I've just lost a piece somewhere. I don't know where I've lost it. I'll have to find that at the end of the show probably. So the head of this what are they called? It's a servo unit. That's it. So this servo unit that is the co-pilot of the gunship, I've just lost his head. So he won't be going together. Got his arm, got his body. I've lost his bloody head somewhere. Typical. It's because I've obviously swept it away somewhere. Probably on my trousers or something like that, or fallen onto the floor. There you go. Right, there's those bits. Let's just have a quick look, see if I can see it. No. Can't see it. Okay. All right. Well, let's stick this thing together anyway. So we need the base. And we need this little thing that goes across here. So that goes across there like that. No glue on this part, apparently. So that goes there, and that goes on top. Oh, get off that. That goes on top, like that. Okay, so, all right, now I know how it goes together. Let's get our glue, pop the lid. Let's just stick some glue around the edge. We're not going to put some glue on, I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. Sorry, let's just adjust this. There we go. So we're not going to put glue over the top here. All right, because that would stop it from moving, but we are going to spread some glue around the edge. So we're going to go over here, like that, around there. Okay, and that should be enough. We're just going to, in fact, we could probably go up there as well. There we are. Oh, that's actually wrong. Sorry, guys. I've gone round the edge here, and it should be on the side. What a fool! Just with the way that piece of the model actually sits. Right, that goes there like that. That goes over the top like that. There we go. That's better. Ha! Ha ha! Oh no, have I done it wrong? Yes, I have. Ah, see? Looking at the wrong instruction and rushing ahead. How silly. That goes on there first, like that. That's, I was reading the right bit. Oh dear. So we need to put some glue on there, like that. He needs to slot in there. Like that. And his arm needs to go on. There. See, sometimes these are a little bit fiddly, so you do need to hold them in place, but that's fine. There we go. Does that just go straight into there? There we go. I think he goes like that. And just a little bit of glue in there. Alright, and then that does go over the top, like we thought. So, let's just redo that. There we go. That'll teach me for rushing ahead, won't it? And that goes over the top there. Alright, I haven't stuck the head onto the guy, but I can do that shortly. That's not a problem once I find it. But there's our little cockpit to go onto the top of our wonderful gunship. Let's just cut this little bit off of here, off of the glass part of the cockpit. So that we'd have to masking tape up just to make sure that we don't paint it. It's the last thing we want. Let's just try and cut that bit off. It's got a little imperfection in the glass there. It's a bit annoying, but never mind. Right, let's place that out the way. We've got those two bits. We will stick those on once it's in place because it's a lot easier. So if you can see here on this one, it's actually got the two little side pieces. This is exactly the same. We've got two little side pieces to go on as well. And they go down the edges. That. And then you've got the actual cockpit itself. And then you've got this one actually. It's just the cover of the main cockpit that sits in front like that. So there we go. All right. And then the last part is some of the big badass weapons that go on it. All right. Easy enough. And then we're done. So we've only got one step to go. That's brilliant. So what I will do in the next, in the sort of interim in between now and the next show, because it's coming to the end now, I will spray up that last piece there, and I will attach it all, put it all together, and then we'll finish doing the detail on the gunship itself. So this gunship here that we've got, that's looking pretty cool so far. There you go. We will finish doing all the painting detail of this gunship on the next show. All right, so that is what we're going to do. We might not get it finished in the next show, but we will try. Hopefully we'll get there, but we're looking pretty good. I do have the door as well to go on the back here. Don't worry, it's already done. That needs to go on here. I just didn't put it on earlier, that's all. But it clips into place. But that's what we're looking at now. It's looking all right. There's our little guy sat in there, looking very cool. And then, once we get the guns on, we can put it on the stand bit that goes under here, and it can actually fly. So, there we go. All right. Well, it's been an awesome show so far. We've had a ton of views, which is really, really good. Hopefully, those of you that are new to the channel will subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on your notifications so you know when we're streaming and we've got stuff going. Yes, share with your friends. So you all have geeky friends in this world. Share with your friends. Let's have a little geeky community where we can all get together and have a good old chat. I've got like feel like I've got like a twisted shoulder or something. It's like it sits down here at the moment, so I feel like I've got a busted back or something. I don't know. But yes, share with your friends, share with your family, get them all on here. Get your nan to subscribe. We love nans on this show. And all seriousness, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Stay safe, geek it up. Like the video once it's posted. It'll be posted within seconds of this live finishing. So make sure you like it, make a comment because it's really good for the algorithms. And I will see you all in the next show, which will be next Friday at 7 PM BST. All right, so stay safe, have fun, enjoy your weekend, geek it out, go to the gym, and I will see you all very, very soon. Stay safe. Ta-ra, bye-bye.
Minis-N-Muscles, we're heroes rise. The dying world still modern skies. Rushing air, with power we fight. Strength that breaks you, light in the night. Where the brawn meets the brawn. Your story's told in this love imagination mode. With every stroke, adventures unfold. Minis-N-Muscles, heart and soul. Guidance in hand and worlds to explore. Roll the future, hear the dice roar. Gaming realms of muscles drawn. Together in this place where we belong. Joining spells, casting dreams until the dawn. Leveling up and the world to follow. With painted heroes shining bright. Venturing on.